You know, when you press play on your favorite streaming service, it just works. It feels like magic, right? Well, for us as IT professionals, that magic is actually a fascinating and incredibly complex architecture. It's a masterclass in scale, speed, and security. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really dig into the foundational layers that make all of that possible.
All right, just so you know where we are, this is part 4 of a big 15-part tutorial. It's all based on this really comprehensive report from Virtualization Options LLC. Today, we're zeroing in on what's covered in Chapter 4 of that report, which is all about the bedrock infrastructure. We're talking about the core systems and security that everything else is built on top of.
So, here's the plan for today. We're going to start with the biggest challenge in streaming. Then, we'll dive into the server infrastructure that forms the foundation. From there, it's all about security, how to protect the content with DRM, how to lock down the entire delivery chain, and finally, what happens when you have to go on the hunt for piracy. Sound good? Let's jump in.
All right, first up, streaming's core challenge. And it's a big one. Delivering a flawless experience at massive scale. I mean, what's the one thing every single streaming platform has to get right? It's delivering that perfect, buffer-free video to millions, literally millions of people, all at the same time. It is an absolutely incredible engineering feat.
So, let's get back to basics for just a second. What is streaming? Well, it's totally different from an old-school download. Instead of waiting for a giant movie file to finish, your device gets these tiny little packets of data, one after another in a continuous flow. And the real genius of this is that your player can start showing you the video almost instantly, while the rest of the file is still on its way. That's how they get rid of that awful initial wait time.
But here's the thing. You can't just build one system and call it a day. A one-size-fits-all approach? It just doesn't work. Think about it. Streaming a live football game is a completely different beast than binge-watching a series that's been out for years. The architecture has to be super flexible. You can't just use some generic template. Every single piece of the tech stack, from encoding all the way to delivery, has to be fine-tuned for what you're actually trying to do.
Okay, so let's get into the server infrastructure foundation. This is the bedrock, where content is stored and prepared. So how do you build a system that can handle all those different scenarios? Well, it all starts right here. This is the foundation where all the content lives and gets prepped for its big journey to your screen. And believe me, if this layer isn't rock solid, absolutely nothing else matters.
The way modern platforms pull this off is with what's called a multi-tier architecture. Now, the easiest way to think about this is like a company with specialized departments. Instead of having one giant server trying to do everything and probably failing, you have different types of servers, and each one has a very specific job. This separation is absolutely crucial because it means you can scale up one part like your delivery servers during a big event without having to mess with anything else.
So let's look at what these key server roles actually do. First, you have the origin servers. This is where the one true high-quality master file of the content lives. Then you've got the encoding servers. Their job is to take that master file and go to work, creating tons of different versions, different resolutions, different bit rates, you name it, so it'll play on any device. And finally, the edge servers. These are part of a content delivery network, or CDN, and they store copies of all those versions all over the globe, getting the content physically closer to you for faster delivery.
And just to give you a sense of the insane scale we're dealing with here, imagine a new hit show drops. The storage systems that hold that content, they have to be able to pump out data at a rate measured in, wait for it, terabits per second. That is just a mind-boggling amount of throughput.
All right, next section, protecting content with DRM, which is really all about the digital locks and keys of streaming. I mean, we've got all this content stored and ready to go, but how do we make sure only the right people can see it? Well, that's where digital rights management, or DRM, comes in. It's basically the system that controls who gets to watch what and how.
In the world of DRM, there are really only 3 players that matter. You've got Google's Widevine for things like Android and Chrome. Then there's Microsoft's Play Ready for Windows and Xbox. And of course, Apple has FairPlay for all their devices and Safari. Now, because a streaming service can't control what device you use, they have no choice. They have to support all 3. And that's what's known as a multi-DRM strategy.
But here's a key detail. DRM protection isn't all the same. It comes in different security levels. On one hand, you have L1, or hardware security. This is the Fort Knox of DRM. The decryption actually happens inside a secure, dedicated chip right on your device. This is the highest level of protection, and it's what movie studios demand if you want to stream in 4K or HD. On the other hand, you have L3, which is software-based. It's not as secure, and because of that, platforms will often limit playback to just standard or maybe 720p HD.
So now we're moving on to securing the entire delivery chain, because it's not enough to just protect the content itself. You have to think bigger. You've got to protect the whole pipeline. Everything from the server, across the Wild West of the internet, all the way to the user's screen.
And the report we're drawing from makes a really critical point here. Using HTTPS isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute requirement. Modern browsers are built to enforce this. They will flat out block any request for a DRM license if it's sent over an insecure HTTP connection. So, in effect, this forces the entire delivery process to be encrypted from end to end.
Okay, so how does the system know you're authorized to watch something without you having to send your password over and over again? The answer is token-based authentication. Here's how it works. You log in once. The platform checks you out and says, yep, they're good. And then it gives your device a special, short-lived access token. Think of it like a temporary keycard. From then on, your device just shows that token to get access to the content and the decryption keys, all without ever having to expose your actual login credentials again.
All right, our last big topic, the hunt for piracy, using forensic measures to trace leaks. So what happens when a pirate gets past all of these defenses? I mean, what if they just record their screen? That's where things get really interesting. This is where the forensic tools come into play. Tools that let services trace a leak all the way back to the source.
And the main weapon in this hunt is called forensic watermarking. Now, the best way to think about this is like an invisible digital fingerprint. For every single stream that goes out, the service embeds a unique, imperceptible identifier right into the video itself. And this isn't some flimsy logo, it's designed to be so robust that it can survive being recompressed, re-encoded, or even recorded by a camera pointed at a screen.
And this watermark isn't just some random number. It's generated on the fly for your specific viewing session. We're talking about embedding things like your user ID, the exact timestamp of when you started watching, an ID for your specific device, and sometimes even location info. So, if a pirated copy of that movie pops up somewhere online, the service can literally analyze the file, pull out that hidden data, and know exactly which account was the source of the leak. So, when you put all of this together, what's the big takeaway? It really comes down to this: a constant, delicate balancing act. You're always trying to balance stronger protection against a seamless user experience. Every security measure you add, every new check, introduces more complexity and another potential point of failure that could make things worse for the legitimate user. It is a never-ending trade-off.
And just as a reminder, all of this super detailed technical info we've been going through today comes from that comprehensive report on streaming architecture by Virtualization Options LLC. Seriously, if you work in this space, it's a fantastic resource you should check out.
So that leaves us with one final big question to think about. As the tools for piracy get more and more sophisticated, the industry is obviously going to have to respond with even stronger protections. But can they actually do that without making the experience worse for all of us, the paying customers? Is it even possible to one day resolve this fundamental tension between security and a great user experience? Something to think about.